This is even more horrifying in its potential than GMO food. That's a given.
It is a type of GM food. The Flavor Saver tomato used a double-stranded RNA. The new leaf potato used a double-stranded RNA. Those are taken off the market, but they were introduced before. The Hawaiian papaya is genetically engineered and can often create double-stranded RNA.
Oh, yeah.
So it's already on the market, and there's new ones that are being looked at. So
all right. Now, I got to ask, the scientists involved with this stuff, some of them are pretty damn smart. In fact, they're geniuses. They know what they're doing. They're getting paid for this. They are, of course, evil ultimately because they know what they're doing. Now, my question to you is, looking down the rabbit hole, how potentially catastrophic might this be for our species in the wrong hands, okay? And there are a hell of a lot of wrong hands out there.
Well, if it's an intentional situation...
That's my question.
Then you know, the catastrophe is certainly a problem both in its acute nature to cause death, but also in its uncontainability. For example, research showed that there is a whole colony of genetically modified bacteria and organisms in Chinese rivers, right? And it's changed the course of many rivers. It's basically from probably some genetically modified agriculture upstream. Mm-hmm. The DNA bacteria has entered the water and has now colonized the water with genetically modified bacteria.
So the rivers are permanently changed.
Yeah, Elaine Ingham describes something that was told to her by an EPA, Environmental Protection Agency person, secretly, because she was not supposed to be public, and that is they did a test where they genetically engineered bacteria in order to detect it. They set up detection centers miles around in its circumference and found it everywhere. Now it's found everywhere on Earth. They just did it for a test, and they genetically engineered bacteria, and it's found everywhere on Earth. So you have a situation where if you are intentionally using this dangerous technology, I'll give you an example where it's like a mild example by comparison. The tobacco companies genetically engineered tobacco to have higher levels of addicting nicotine, smuggled it into Brazil and grew it there where it was adversely affecting the farm workers. They called it tobacco loco because it would cause dizziness just by being near it.
Just being around it. Wow.
Yeah, then they smuggled the tobacco into the United States and put, I'm told, one cigarette in each pack to increase the addictive quality. So let's say you have if you get sophisticated about the DNA and you have certain foods you want to sell, maybe you'll generate, just like you can addict people to cigarettes, maybe you'll generate a response in the DNA of a person to be thirsty for your particular food and your particular nutrient.
No contest.
Or you can change, theoretically you could change the way the brain functions, as we talked, as Rappaport wrote about, intentionally. So, in one sense, we don't know enough about the DNA and RNA to be so targeted, which is the good news. But the bad news is we don't know so much about RNA to be in DNA, so we're incredibly dangerous when we do manipulate it.
Oh, my God. It's getting to be really bad out there, folks. This is not anything I anticipated at this time. It's the technological avalanche falling on our heads is putting us at terminal risk here. This is not a joke. If these go ahead.
Monsanto wants to develop pesticide sprays.
Yeah.
Pesticide sprays using this technology. Pesticides can travel for many miles.
Of course.
And they're designed to go through cell surfaces. So it's like they just found recently that with Roundup, their herbicide, that there's the surfactant which drives the Roundup or the glyphosate active ingredient into the cells is actually more toxic than the glyphosate itself. And it's not evaluated by the Environmental Protection Agency because it's considered one of the, quote, inert ingredients and not the active ingredient, even though it's more damaging to human cells. Here we have a situation where they're going to spray the dsRNA, the double-stranded RNA, in their, quote, biodirect line, and they're supposed to go through cell surfaces, absorbed by organisms, transported through the tissues of the organisms, and so that gets sprayed in nature. As this article says, the risks are without precedent. And Monsanto purchased Biologics, which is developing double-stranded RNA molecules eaten by bees. They purchased also a company, the Rosetta Green Company's Activity, which includes our double-stranded RNA to manipulate a range of crops and traits. So they're moving into this technology big time, and they're going to pretend that it's a new, safer technology when in fact it is a far more dangerous technology. I was talking to a scientist recently, and he was very concerned. He had some papers about it, and he said this is a very, very serious change in the playing field because what they're introducing now is unprecedented in its risk.
They could change the planet. They could reconfigure the whole planet over time with this. Not to mention individual species, plant crops. It's in the environment. Folks, there's no oversight. There's no restraint. We, Jeffrey Smith and his heroic folks, don't have a chance in hell of getting this into a lab to do any work before it's already going to be deployed. You're going to be inhaling it, drinking it, eating it, rubbing up against it, and these things can be trained, structured, to do God knows what. I can't even imagine what they could do. We know that proteins don't break down. It can last in the soil indefinitely. This stuff seems to be worse from what you're saying. And if the surfactant is even more toxic, I mean, that's just the transport mechanism.
Right.
This is phenomenal. And we're just at the beginning stage of this. We're just walking through the door. Where do you think these lunatics are going to be in 5 years? I mean, this stuff is...
I want to couple that with another piece of bad news before I get into the really good news. Just to get the full double whammy, because they are related. The Monsanto rider passed through the House and Senate and is awaiting signature by Obama right now.
Yeah.
The Monsanto rider, which was put into the bill that kept the money flowing in the government, basically challenges the very basis of separation of powers in the U.S. in favor of Monsanto. I want to give you the background on this, and it's absolutely ridiculous that this went through. The USDA, and basically the USDA, FDA, and EPA are all basically pro-biotechnology and bend the rules and break the laws continuously to get GMOs on the market. And this was made clear when the Center for Food Safety in Washington, a NGO, sued the USDA successfully, and the court said they approved the sugar beets and the alfalfa illegally without a proper environmental impact statement. So the rider, which is now law, or will be law as soon as it's signed by Obama, basically says that if the courts say that the thing was approved illegally and that the environmental impact statement has to be conducted properly, that the USDA must, without any choice, allow farmers to continue to plant and use the GMO until the EIS is completed. And that this means that it completely overturns the court's ability to stop the planting, even though the approval was based on illegal tactics and illegal processes. And it forces the hand of the USDA to approve products. So it's an amazing thing where even the USDA was issuing a statement saying it may be illegal and unconstitutional, and yet it was cooked up by the Appropriations Committee, Senator Mulkowski, and others, in favor of Monsanto to basically override any court objection to approvals of GMOs. Now, this means that if, for example, someone wakes up in the court and says, oh, this double-stranded technology, it could be a catastrophe for the environment and for humans. We need to keep it in the laboratory and test it first. They have no power to stop it at the USDA level, given this rider. So we have a action alert out today to call the White House and to insist that the rider be struck down. So I want to give the phone number for the White House. 202-456-1111. 202-456-1111. Put it in your speed dial and call every day and call several times. Make sure you get through 202-456-1111 and tell them to strike Section 735 from the 2013 continuing resolution. That's the wording. So Section 735, I'm sure they know about it now because they've probably received lots of calls, and do it immediately. Because this, it's obviously unconstitutional, and it's obviously setting a precedent that basically allows Monsanto to just make mincemeat, to shred the Constitution, as one writer wrote.
How about shred the human species?
Well, there's that too.
I am just stunned. When I saw John's article, I just kind of couldn't believe it. Very fortuitous that you're on tonight to talk about this. These people behind this stuff, I don't know who they are or what they are, but they're out of control. It's like, if we can do it, if human beings can do it, they'll do it. Doesn't matter what it is. There's some fatal attraction to being able to do something that's unique, different, never been done. Even if it's fraught with risk and danger, they still want to do it. We know on the shelf right now there are bacteria and probably viruses that can destroy all life on the planet. They've probably had that for 20, 30 years. We know this. So what I'm saying is, it just takes one lunatic scientist who's having a real bad hair day. He says, I'm taking everybody down. I'm done with this planet. This planet's a rat hole of evil. He could smuggle it out of there in his shoe, turn it loose. Goodbye. That's it. We are really literally living in those times right now, where the end of the world is as close as one insane human being with access to that kind of material. All right, we'll be back.